Hey, what's going on, everybody? Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker here on the Full Court Press. Thanks for tuning in and joining us here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, streaming on 1069thefan.com and on the 1069 The Fan mobile app. Appreciate you tuning in. A lot of activity on the Full Court Press text line last hour. A lot of your reactions to what happened in San Diego last night. USU losing 85-75. Really close and competitive for the first 7 minutes of basketball. It's anybody's game. It's back and forth, and then the Aggies go cold, and San Diego goes on a 18-0 run, then they end up being up by 15 at halftime. Aggies make some adjustments and play with a little bit more purpose in the second half. Get it within 6, but never get it any closer than that. I give them credit for fighting back, for digging in and trying to make a game of it, but it was just too much of a hill to climb, and ultimately San Diego State able to do enough of what they needed to do or wanted to do to win comfortably by double digits. Funk had a nice game. We talked the other night about somebody who needs to play well, give the Aggies a chance. Funk was somebody I'd singled out, and he had a big game, and he really got going in that second half. But a couple other Aggies, kind of struggled a little bit. But really it wasn't – offensively it was a pretty normal game for USU at 75 points. It's just giving up the 85, and that's been a big topic today. Just that perimeter defense particularly is something that's been a tough spot for this team all year, and it just was glaring last night.
Yeah, you let them shoot 55% from three. If they shoot their normal percent of 34, 35%, it's probably a tie ball game at the end of regulation if you subtract all those points. Maybe give the Aggies a couple extra points because maybe they can get out in transition. But when you just let teams shoot incredibly hot from three, that's just too much to overcome, if you're doing it too many times. They've overcome that with other teams several times. They did against San Jose State, although part of the thing with San Jose State is that in the end of the game, in the crucial plays, San Jose State missed. So, in San Diego State basically never missed, or at least they made more three-pointers than they missed. So, not a very good run for Utah State in terms of three-point defense, and it's cost them multiple games this season.
Shulga, he poured in 8 points. Ashworth had 8 with 7 assists. He was only 2 for 7 from 3. Shulga was 2 for 8 from 3. Bairstow actually shot better from 3. And he had a solid game, 18 points for Bairstow, 3 for 6 from beyond the arc. Go along with 5 rebounds and 4 assists. But give credit San Diego State. They knew that Ashworth was a key for USU, and they made it really, really tough for him to get any space. But this game really comes down to USU struggling with their defense. And not just – a lot of the focus has been on the perimeter, but they had a – it's not like the San Jose State game where the offensive rebounding was really obscurely in San Jose's favor. It was pretty even, but when you have one guy gets 6 offensive boards, that's just what's tough, is that one player gets that much extra opportunities and putbacks, and usually those are big momentum plays. He had a big throwdown and gets fouled on the dunk, and everybody gets hyped and excited, and those are momentum plays that are tough to overcome.
Yeah, it's just little things here and little things there on defense. Like, mention Adam Seiko. Let's say he goes 7 of 9 from 3. Okay, let's say if he goes 4 from 9 from 3, you take away 9 points. Johnson is 6 offensive rebounds. Aztecs had 17 second chance points. Take away a couple of those offensive rebounds, you probably shave another couple points or so, a couple baskets. So overall, you look at Utah State's offense, 75 points. That's enough to win this game. if you're shaving off some of the wide open threes you're giving up to Seiko, or maybe for him some of the clutch or the heat check threes that he was able to make because you left him open for some easy ones earlier. So if the defense had been able to do a little bit more of their job, the offense did enough to win. Not great. They could have done a little bit better. They could have had not missed 8 straight shots. Because, that 18-0 run, we focused on the 18 scored, but there's also 0 by the offense. There's a responsibility there to not miss 8 straight shots over, 5-6 minutes. But still, you do a couple things here on defense, a couple things there, and, the points come off the board fast if you had done those things. But there's only, that's easier for me to say after the fact.
Yeah, and we've been talking about this team and its strong net ranking and how good the conference is. But when you look at the overall resume of Utah State, what's lacking is a resume building win, a solid win on the road. They don't have that, and they really don't have any other opportunities for that. So what they can do, though, is that there's still a lot of games to be played in conference and still opportunities to pick up some good wins against good teams, but that'll be on your court. So overall, your overall record is going to help, and being up there in the top tier of conference standings is going to help. But your opportunity to have a solid resume win, that's now gone, because road games are at Colorado State, San Jose, Fresno, Wyoming, and UNLV. And let's see, I think, are any of those in the top 100 right now in the net? I don't think they are.
Yeah, at this point, you're probably going to wind up with a winless quad one, record. Maybe San Diego State will be quad one coming in because they have to be, top 25?
They have to be top 30 if it's at your place. So,
okay, so
Boise.
So I guess there's a couple.
San Diego State, maybe New Mexico. Because right now, those are all top 30 teams.
Okay. So I guess there's a couple.
So there's some opportunities still.
I'll stand corrected on that. So you could wind up with 2, maybe 3. I guess you'll have opportunities for 2, maybe 3. Of course, then if you beat them, then they might fall out of the top 30 because they're kind of on that fringe there. But still, I think you mentioned it where, resume building maybe not so much on the table here because you're now 0 for 3 in quad one. If you win all of your home games, you'll probably wind up going 2 and 3 in quad one, which is good but not great. Losing record in quad one, not ideal. Most of the rest of your wins are going to be quad 2, quad 3 at this point. And so really the one part of your resume you're building at this point is just your overall record. When you say, oh, hey, we're a 26-win team. Okay, that's pretty solid. And that can be impressive, especially when you're a mid-major team. But the rest of the resume isn't going to look as good because you have no impressive road wins. You'll finish the season with no impressive road wins.
There is a chance that they could still get one quad one game, depending on what UNLV does. Right now, they're at 81. If they start to figure themselves out and pick up some wins in conference play, and if they are at 75 by the time the Aggies play them, that'll be considered a quad one game.
Yeah. Well, still, they might get bumped down if the Aggies beat them. So.
Yeah, so they need them to be north of that.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe there's a perfect world where the Aggies wind up with a 3-3 quad one record. That'd be enough to get them back into at-large territory. But that's a situation I don't really see happening because it would require all the teams to, get into the rankings that would make them quad one. Then the Aggies would have to beat them, which is a tall task in and of itself, considering they've lost by double digits to most of these teams that we're saying they'll just beat at home just because it's at home. So really, it's possible, but I wouldn't expect the Aggies to be much better than 1-5, 2-4 in quad one games. That's assuming some of these guys stick around in quad one. by the time they come to Logan. So we'll see. I think resume building is probably off the table at this point.
Yeah, or if any resume building happens, it's on your court, which it's nice, but it doesn't stand out as much as your ability to win on the road.
And it can still happen. There can be a situation where the Aggies build up a good enough resume, but they're sitting on a razor's edge with it.
Yeah. Yep.
There's no more room for error for at-large, an at-large bid. So you got to basically beat all these tough opponents when they come to your place, which thankfully they have that opportunity, but they have to beat them all to get an at-large bid, and then they can't slip up in the rest of the conference. They have to just about go undefeated from here.
Just about.
There's probably one, maybe two losses. I don't even know if I can think two losses would, I think one loss is probably the most you could suffer. Maybe a second one in the conference tournament. And that's about it in terms of at-large bid. Just because of where the resume is at right now, they just about run the table. It'd be impressive enough to probably get them in.
5-3 as of this point, 10 more games to go. But your toughest road games are behind you.
Yeah.
There's still tough games on the schedule, but those games will be in Logan.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this the other day.
And if you're going to lose a game against a tough team, it can't be one of these on the road against these teams that are sub 100.
Yeah, it'd have to be a loss to a San Diego State, maybe a Boise State, probably San Diego State, because otherwise, they're one of the top teams. They're probably going to be the first place team in the conference, so it's not as bad if you lose if you get swept by the first place team in the conference. But the thing is, you mentioned losing one more time. That's a 4-loss, and as we looked throughout the past history of the Mountain West, 4-loss, at best you're in a tie for first place. That's the best scenario. But in most cases, you're second, tied for second, tied for third, so on and so forth. That's with one more loss the rest of the way. Your best case scenario is second place, or if a bunch of other teams lose, tied for first.
Tied for third.
So 2 losses at that point, you're fourth, fifth, that's it.
A couple of texts coming through. Reminder, if you want to weigh in, we'd love to hear from you. 435-339-0321. This text coming in from 3862 says, hustle plays and offensive rebounds are just such a back-breaking play for the other team. I felt that way a lot last night, just straight daggers.
Yeah, when you get second chance points, they're demoralizing. You get a stop. All right, we forced a bad shot. They shot this, crazy floater from, just in front of the free throw lines, perfect spot, incredibly inefficient place on the floor. And of course they missed it because it was a bad shot. Oh, but they got the offensive rebound. They dunked it right on our head. Oh, okay. That was a waste of 30 seconds. Waste of a good 30 seconds of defense just to get dunked on. Not only does it waste the defensive possession, but then they get momentum because they just had an energy play. It builds up their energy. Yeah, we dunked it. Yeah, now we're going to go back on defense. And you also don't get to do your transition offense. And so there's just so much that these offensive rebounds and turnovers can kill. Because it provides energy to the other team, usually points to the other team, and it handicaps you. You're not running your offense as good, and you're not getting points, and you're not getting this and that. Then when you start to string them together, turnovers, offensive rebounds, and suddenly the other team's on an 18-0 run.
Another text coming through, 9315. Not so long ago, we were all used to Gata, so still want that as fans, I think.
Yeah.
That's true. And then, can't we get Q1 when we go to the tournament in Vegas?
Do those count at that point?
I think they do. They still count as your win-loss record.
Yes, they probably do.
Yeah. It would be considered neutral site games, so as long as you're in the top 50, that would be considered a quad 1 opportunity. So they theoretically, we'd have a few more opportunities there. So, look, right now, if you look at the schedule and if everything stays pretty much the same, because there really hasn't been a lot of movement in the net rankings for the Mountain West. Like, even though the Aggies lost, they moved one spot.
Yeah,
even though San Diego State won, they moved up a few, but like 3. Not a lot of movement in the Mountain West right now.
Yeah, we have reached the point, and I mentioned this earlier, where it's like there isn't going to be as much drastic movement because the sample sizes are so much larger that one game and all the data from that being injected into the NET doesn't really move it all that much. You're not going to jump up 10 spots after a win or a loss. You'll jump up 1 or 2. Unless you're like a 200 that beats a top 30, then you probably will jump up 10 spots. But
yeah, likelihood to move or have a lot of movement in the net right now is if you're one of those lower seeded teams or lower ranked teams, and you pick up a big win.
Yeah, for Utah State, losing to these teams high in the NET isn't dropping them too much because, well, you lost to a good team.
In fact, Boise State just the other night, they beat Fresno and they dropped a point. So they won a game and they moved backwards in the net.
Yeah, that can happen. Got to run up the score. Run up the score.
435-339-0321 if you want to weigh in. Continue to talk about Utah State and then their loss at San Diego State. That wasn't the only game that was in action last night. There was girls basketball that took place in Region 11. Utah Jazz were in action last night on the road at Portland. Talk about letting the opposing guard get hot. Holy cow. Damian Lillard went off against the Utah Jazz. We also have the starters were named for the NBA All-Star game that was just announced. So we'll update you on that as well for those that are just eagerly waiting. You just have been anticipating this moment for weeks. Well, now it's official, so we'll update you on that. Coming up next here on the Full Court Press.
What do Valentine's Day and Jarek's have in common? They're both all about the romance. Jarek's Fine Jewelry has a great selection for your sweetheart. Don't sweat it out worrying about where to get the perfect gift. We've recently added a 3D laser engraver. Now through Valentine's, Jarek's will personalize any jewelry purchase for no additional charge. We can engrave a wedding date, a name, or any message on most jewelry, like a pendant, watch, bracelet, the inside or outside of a ring. This Valentine's, let us help personalize your gift and make it special. Make it Jarek's.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
This is James Stevens with White Pine Funeral Services. We are humbled by and grateful for the tremendous support we have been shown since opening our doors nearly 2 years ago. So we just want to say thank you. On behalf of everyone at White Pine, first and foremost, thank you for allowing us the honor and privilege of serving you and caring for your loved ones. Additionally, thank you for voting White Pine the best mortuary in Cache Valley in both 2021 and 2022.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most.
Les Olson IT structured cabling is second to none. Tired of old and inefficient cabling? Have an upgrade or remodel planned? Building a new network from the ground up? We offer the very best in low voltage cabling installation, including data, phone, fiber optic, and more. Ask us how to get your free consultation today.
Les Olson IT.
As a small business, achieving your financial goals and ambitions can be a steep and rocky mountain climb. This is Lance Zollinger, president at Cache Valley Bank. To conquer the mountain and achieve your goals, it takes planning, hard work, and discipline. At Cache Valley Bank, we have the resources, expertise, and flexibility to help you scale your way to success. Give us a call. Let's work together and climb the mountains that await. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Sunday, it's the championship round of the NFL playoffs as we bring you a special doubleheader. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join me and the rest of our Westwood One crew for all the action. First, the top 2 seeds in the NFC square off when the Eagles host the 49ers. Then, it's the Chiefs and the Bengals in the AFC title game for the second straight year. Who will advance to Super Bowl 57 in Arizona? Tune in to find out. Hear the playoff picture unfold right here.
Sunday beginning at noon on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
It's the Full Court Press, weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
Welcome back to Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker. And you. We'd love to hear from you as well. 435-339-0321 on the Full Court Press text line. Utah State losing to San Diego State last night. They weren't the only ones. It was the Utah Jazz falling to the Portland Trail Blazers. And Damian Lillard is putting 60 points on the Jazz. And he said it was a very easy 60 points. Not that he felt like the Jazz weren't defending him necessarily, and because they made it easy on him, but he clarified saying that it just felt like it was very much in the flow of the game. You didn't have to work hard to get those 60 points.
Yeah, it's really annoying when you have it, especially because, Kyrie Irving went off for like 48 the other night. Jazz could have won both those games were it not for the fact they can't guard this one dude. It is a little frustrating, especially because it does feel like it's always against the Jazz. These guards go off for tons of points. In fact, I looked it up this morning because I was curious.
Oh, boy.
And I think it was like since 2000 was the cutoff I used to see which NBA teams have given up the most, high-scoring games. I started like 40 plus, 45, 50, and 60 plus. Which NBA teams have allowed opposing guards and limit it to guys listed as guards, just because that seems to be the trend for the Jazz.
Right.
So, all right, how many times have guards gone off again? So the Jazz, in terms of 40-plus point games allowed to guards, they're tied for third with 31 times. And then at 45-plus points, they're tied for first. 50-plus points, they're just straight up first.
Oh, gosh.
And then 60-plus points, they're one of 4 teams that have allowed 2 guards to go off for 60-plus. Well, for the Jazz, it was just 60 both times. Damian Lillard and Kobe Bryant. So, yeah, when you say it feels like the Jazz always let opposing guards go off, they do. It's statistically a fact.
It's a pattern.
They allowed the most 50-plus point games to opposing guards over the last 20-ish years.
Oh, boy.
More than any other team. Like, they're at 9. I think the next closest is like 7. So, yeah, they can't guard guards very well.
Lillard hit 9 3-pointers, 60 points. He had 8 assists, 7 rebounds, 3 steals. It's a great game for Lillard. And I'm a Lillard fan, just, don't always love to see him have that kind of a line against the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, I don't like when he plays well against the Jazz, and he had like 59 in a different game against the Jazz recently. That was on the list of games I was looking at. Like, he had 59 some other game. I was like, what? Can you not guard Damian Lillard? I get that nobody can guard him, but at least don't let him go for 60 or 50. Can we keep him to his season average of, I think this year it's pretty high, but it's like, at least contain him. Look, you're not going to shut him down to 12 points. That's just usually blind luck if he has a night where he goes like 3 of 19. But just keep him mostly contained. Don't let him go off like this. Just keeps happening. It's the second time it's happened in like a week.
It's really frustrating. Meanwhile, Utah, Lowry Markkanen played pretty well. Beasley, Gay, Sexton, all in double figures. Talon Horton-Tucker, pretty solid game off the bench. But, it's that defense, that perimeter defense for Utah. It's problematic.
I feel like we've had this conversation already today.
I know.
Are we in the second hour? We sure we've not gone back in time? Play good on offense, but terrible on defense. Can't guard one specific player. They keep losing the other team's best 3-point shooter allow him to have a huge night? Did the Jazz and the Aggies use the same script? Let the other team go on a huge run in the second quarter, so to speak?
Yeah, Utah had a great first quarter, and I'm like, okay, this team looks like they're playing well, good defense. They hold Portland to only 19 points, and then they give up a 47-point quarter, which is unreal.
What are you doing? Do not ever give up a 47-point quarter, ever, unless you score 48.
It's ridiculous. That was bad. So now with that, I mean, it's a constant look at where things are in the standings. Utah falls down to the 10th position, a half a game ahead of Oklahoma City and Portland, who are currently out of the playoff picture. But, I mean, that's just how very, very tight things are in the Western Conference. 2 games separate 5 from 12. 2 games.
You got to tank. That's the thing. If the Jazz trade 1 or 2 guys and it's not that they're going to be that much more of a terrible team. Still be competitive, just lose a little bit more. Because right now, the lowest they're really going to fall is that 13th spot. Because you got the Spurs and the Rockets that are 11 wins for the Rockets, 14 for the Spurs.
Yeah, they're really bad.
You ain't catching them in the tank. But then the Lakers, they're at 23 wins. Jazz are at 25. So you're not too far. So if you're wanting to be on Team Tank, that's there. Trade Mike Conley. There's more rumors about Mike Conley maybe moving to a contender today. There's still the rumors about Malik Beasley. Or you can maybe make a trade where perhaps you make some nominal improvements instead of going down. Jump up to almost where the Pelicans are at 4. They're only 2 games behind the 4th-seeded Pelicans.
I know. It's crazy.
So you could go either way. I'm leaning more towards tank because I don't think the Jazz can sustain enough winning to get all the way to 4 or 5 or 6. I don't necessarily want to be in the play-in. But the thing is that whenever the Jazz play, I'm rooting for them to win. And I'm frustrated when they lose. And then when they do lose and I'm frustrated, I'm like, well, it's better for the tank, right? So, I kind of win either way where it's I want this team to win. But if they lose, then I can convince myself, okay, I guess it's a good thing in the long run. But would rather they've won.
Yeah, I'm with you. Cheering for them to win. Hope that they win. I know that we still got a lot of games left in the season. They've played 51 games. So we have, 31 left. But we're kind of in this really kind of knife's edge type of situation with this team. Which way are they going to go? The schedule is still favorable for Utah over this next week and a half, 2 weeks right before the trade deadline. And so that may give them a false sense of what type of team that they have before everybody else really starts to ramp things up post All-Star break, where teams start to make their runs and start to get real serious about playing basketball. Because to this point, it's not been real serious for a lot of teams. Hence why it's so tight in the Western Conference right now. I mean, we still have people talking about how the Golden State Warriors could be a favorite to come out of the West when they're a 500 team at 24-24. But just get them healthy and they'll get serious about playing and they'll make their move. That's how illegitimate the regular season has become in the NBA pre-All-Star break.
And I think that people talking about the Warriors, those are the kind of people that are your national TV halftime show talking heads that have never watched a single game of a team that isn't the Warriors, Lakers, and 76ers and Nets in the Celtics. They watch 5 teams over and over. Just the ones they're supposed to talk about for ratings. They don't watch the Nuggets. They don't watch the Bucks. They don't watch the Cavs. They don't watch the Grizzlies. They don't watch the Pelicans. They don't watch the Mavericks. They watch 4 to 5 teams that'll get them ratings. And they say, oh, yeah, the Warriors are the favorite. Really? 8 teams above them would tell you differently. They're gonna win 16 games in the playoff. They've won 24 games in 48 tries. They're gonna win 16 games. They're gonna win.
They are the very definition of mediocre.
Yeah. Are they gonna win 4 playoff series when they can barely win half of their games? It's just ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, the NBA starting lineups for the All-Star game have been announced. Well, the starters, I should say. The actual lineups will not be decided until game day, which I think is a little bizarre. I to some degree, I understand waiting until the All-Star game to decide what your roster is going to look like, because we've seen this many, many times. Guys get named to the All-Star team, but because of injury, they don't show up, and so they have to have a replacement player. And so when it comes time to the actual day of the game, you really know who you have available to you. So I will give them that. But today we know who the starters will be. And for the Eastern Conference, Giannis Antetokounmpo will be the captain. Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Donovan Mitchell. And this will be Donovan Mitchell's first time as a starter. So give credit to the former Jazz player. I mean, he's having a great season in Cleveland. He deserves to be a starter. And in the Western Conference, LeBron James, he will be the captain, the other captain, but he is joined by Zion Williamson, Nikola Jokic, Steph Curry, and Luka Doncic. So those are your starters from the Western Conference.
Zion Williamson has played 29 games this year for his team that has played 59. I think. Nope, I did math wrong. We're gonna try this again. 49. I added 10 games. 49 games he's played. He's missed 20 games. He's gonna be an all-star starter.
See, he's one of those where he's named as a starter, but he may not even play, and so somebody else will be named as a replacement starter, and then others will be added to the mix. So
they just need to. If you don't play a certain number of percentage of your team's games, you should just be
disqualified,
ineligible. Like, not even all-star selection. You are not qualified to be selected. Not you're named but you don't play. It's you're not an all-star. Sorry. Play the game of basketball, then you can be named. It's like when who was there was a player that was like injured for most of the year and he was getting all-star votes. Was it Ben Simmons who's getting I don't think he got.
It's happened several times before. Anthony Davis. It's happened to Vince Carter where he didn't play a single game for the first half of the season and he was still named an all-star.
Yeah. It's like,
what are we doing?
There needs to be some limits there. Just say, all right, because there's limits. I think for like a bunch, for things like points per game and per game stats. There's qualifications you have to meet to be on those leaderboards, to be the scoring leader. You have to play a certain number of games, otherwise you're not that. There's kind of soft limits for some of the awards. Or at least that's a conversation people have about, like Rookie of the Year and some others.
Yeah, that's true.
But there just needs to be a hurdle, like, all right, play this percentage of your team's games. Otherwise, you're not an all-star.
By the way, just saw this. According to Brett McMurphy, former Utah State Athletic Director John Hartwell has been named as a new AD at Louisiana Monroe. So he's got a new job.
There you go. He's got something to do.
After saying he wanted to get out of it for a while and move back to the South to spend time with family, he wasn't out of it for very long.
He's in the South, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. It's closer to home for both his and his wife's families.
Wasn't it Arkansas? So he's going one state south. So it's not the worst.
Not the worst. All right, another quick timeout here in the Full Court Press. Love to hear from you as well. 435-339-0321.
Want to set yourself apart from the competition? The Leadership MBA at Utah State University will help you lead companies and drive change in your organization. You can attend in person in Logan on Thursday evenings or take an interactive online class. Complete your MBA in as little as a year. Apply before March 1st to be considered for summer semester. Contact the MBA office for a waiver of the $55 application fee. Learn more at utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com.
Daryl's Appliance is the only place in Cache Valley where you can apply your service trip fee to a new appliance if you decide you want a new one instead. This is Jay from Daryl's Appliance. You don't have to gamble. That's because you have everything under one roof, service and sales. You always get the best appliance repair team in northern Utah. But if you decide to buy new instead, apply the repair fee to your new appliance. See store for details. Only at Daryl's Appliance, west on Airport Road.
It's the annual Boatload of Gloves clearance sale at Al's Sporting Goods. Thousands of name-brand gloves from Burton, DeKine, Scott, and Gordini, 50% off. That's right, 50% off. Closeouts, clearouts, discontinued models, salesman samples, thousands of gloves, and they've all got to go. Save 30% on winter boots from the North Face, Columbia, Sorel, Kamak, and more. Ski goggles starting at $14. Winter jackets from the North Face, Columbia, and Boulder Gear. You save 30%. It's the annual Boatload of Gloves sale going on now at Al's Sporting Goods. Every sport, every season.
Let's talk about getting your car registered. What a pain! With registration and emissions, it takes hours. Valvoline Instant Oil Change in Logan, across from Angie's, will take that pain away. Stop in to get your oil changed and have the emissions test done. Then re-register your car. It's that easy, all in one stop. The best thing, you can stay in your car while their trained pros service your vehicle. Valvoline Instant Oil Change, 695 North Main, open 7 days a week.
Schreiber Foods in Logan is hiring overnight technicians for maintenance and energy systems. People who can repair, troubleshoot, and perform preventative maintenance on a variety of automated equipment. You'll also have the opportunity to participate in their upcoming expansion projects. Energy systems technicians at Schreiber Foods work with ammonia systems, boilers, and refrigeration. Schreiber Foods doesn't just invest in equipment, they invest in their employees too. Enjoy an 8% 401k match, an employee stock ownership plan, an on-site health and wellness clinic. Apply online at schreiberfoods.com/careers. Equal opportunity employer.
Breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews. It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Got a busy night in Region 11 high school basketball. We're going to have these games on the radio and video streaming on CacheValleyDaily.com. Jason, you're going to be calling another game. You're going 3 for 3.
I know, 3 days in a row. I don't know if my voice can handle it. You guys can probably tell I'm dying over here. my voice is like, will you stop speaking for once?
Lozenges.
Yeah. Probably need to go buy a giant bag of those. And I gotta have a nice, long, relaxing weekend where I don't say a single thing.
Because you called the game at Bear River for Logan. Then you called the girls' game last night, Logan versus Bear River. And then tonight, you've got another game, and it's hosting Ridgeline.
Yep. Big game, probably the biggest game of the region slate for today, and probably one of the biggest of the week. Just because of the standings implications. These are, Ridgeline, they're a team that's trying to maintain their hold on number 2, give themselves another shot at maybe beating Skyview in the second half of the region schedule, maybe take a good swipe at getting that region crown and staying at the top of the RPI. But Logan, they're a team looking for respect. They have the same region record as Ridgeline right now, although the RPI hasn't really respected Logan at all. So if Logan gets the win here, then Logan suddenly becomes the upstart team in the region. They'd be alone as number 2 in region, then they themselves would have a chance to take another swipe at Skyview. So this is basically a battle of 2 teams that are probably the last hope at knocking off Skyview for the Region 11 title, at least an undisputed Region 11 title. So big matchup.
Yeah, so here's a rundown. Who's playing where and how you can follow along. As we mentioned, Logan hosting Ridgeline. So that'll be on KVNU, 102.1 FM, 610 AM, also on 104.5 The Ranch. Jason will be on the call with Logan Weber. It'll be video streaming on CashValleyDaily.com. Here on The Fan, it'll be Skyview hosting Mountain Crest and Hurricane John Newbold on the call. It'll also be on 107.7 KLZX, video streaming on Cache Valley Daily. And then two different ways, well, I should say multiple ways, to follow along what's going to be taking place at Green Canyon tonight. For the Green Canyon Wolves coverage of their game, it'll actually be Clint Payne on the call with Terrell Baldwin on 100.9 Light FM, video streaming on CashValleyDaily.com. And for Bear River, video streaming, a different video stream will be available on Cache Valley Daily with Trent Carter and Josh Tyre on the call. That game will also be on 104.9 The Ranch in Box Elder County. So multiple ways to follow that game and their respective coverages of those matchups. So check it out. A lot of different ways to listen and to follow and to watch. And we'll have scoreboards available later tonight. And as soon as the games are done, you can go back and watch the games. That's been corrected and fixed. And you can go back and watch these games as they've been archived. And photo galleries will be available on Cache Valley Daily as well. So a lot of different ways to catch up on things that you may have missed. If you were at a game, you can go back and check in on other games that happened throughout the evening as well.
Yeah, that's how I've been able to go back and watch, at least rewatch parts of these games just to catch up on how everyone's doing. So, I mean, me for my coverage, because if I'm doing a game, I'm only watching one. I can't keep track of all of them at the same time, but I can go back afterwards.
There you go.
The magic of the internet.
One other thing about Region 11, just wanted to let you know about the drill team. I know they had their region drill competition in Tremonton on Monday. So the final RPI rankings for drill for 4A were released today. Now, the semifinals will be taking place at Utah Valley on February 2nd, and then the championship, the finals will be done on February 3rd. But as of right now, the final rankings through the competition season has Skyview ranked number 1. Technically, they're tied with Dixie with the same overall RPI score, but by virtue of tiebreakers, Skyview gets the number 1 overall seed.
What was the tiebreaker?
I don't know. I tried to look that up, and I couldn't find it. What the tiebreaker?
Is it just a coin flip? Is it
situation was there? But I'm going to keep digging on that, try to find that out. But Ridgeline was number 3, Bear River at number 6, Green Canyon number 7, Mountain Crest number 10, and Logan comes in at number 11 for the RPI. So there must be some schools from Region 10 who don't have drill teams because
that happens.
Not as many schools here as normally would be. But Skyview number 1, Ridgeline number 3. So those are your top teams, our top drill teams, and they compete in 3 different categories: military, dance, and show. And we'll have more details on that and what the schedules look like for those semifinals competition coming up at Utah Valley next weekend. So we'll have more details on that on CashValleyDaily.com. Quick timeout here in the Full Court Press. When we come back, pick 6 time. The 6 things we think might happen this weekend. Invite you to play along as well. Shout out your radio how you would answer to the lines that we pick for this upcoming weekend. It's all coming up next on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
Nothing compares to the warmth and feel that a wood stove provides. The 2-time Best of Northern Utah winning team says there's never been a better time to replace your old inefficient wood stove and install a new energy-efficient EPA-certified Vermont casting wood product in your home. The U.S. government is offering federal tax credits of 26% on your wood stove install. For Vermont casting units, that includes stoves, venting, and labor. Call or email Advanced Fireplace and Stove for a free in-home estimate. Call 435-752-7272 or go to advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
Beryl and Stave invites you out to celebrate their 1-year anniversary weekend this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. What better way to celebrate than with a big thank you to Cache Valley? Experience food and drink specials, live music, giveaways, free food, and more. Good feelings, great food, handcrafted cocktails and wines, and an exceptional experience are what you'll find at Beryl and Stave, located on Federal Avenue in Logan. It's the 1-year anniversary celebration this weekend. Beryl and Stave, doors always open at 4 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday night.
It's never too late or too cold to get rid of that old vehicle. Now is the time to earn extra cash by calling DD Auto and Salvage. Let them pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it so easy and fast to get rid of your junker vehicles by paying you the most money possible. Pickup is available. If you have metal, DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204 today.
See store for details.
Alpine Home Medical has been around for over 25 years. Can you believe that? Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent. What keeps us coming to work every day? We're passionate about caring for you. From home and bathroom safety to transportation, mobility, recovery, oxygen, sleep, and more, come into any of our 10 locations today and let us take care of you.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit us at alpinehomemedical.com.
Welcome to the new year and happy winter driving.
As the weather outside gets colder, it's more important than ever to have a reliable vehicle to get you around safely.
That's where Murdoch Hyundai comes in with the Drive at Home sales event.
Right now, receive 2.9% for 5 years on the 2023 Tucson or Santa Fe.
And every new Hyundai comes with America's best warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty, and owner's assurance.
When you walk through our doors, you feel like family.
At Murdoch Hyundai in Logan, Lynn, and Murray, or online at murdochhyundai.com.
Call 866-628-3065 or see dealer for complete details. Offer expires 1/31/23.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
Sunday, it's the championship round of the NFL playoffs as we bring you a special doubleheader. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join me and the rest of our Westwood One crew for all the action. First, the top two seeds in the NFC square off when the Eagles host the 49ers. Then, it's the Chiefs and the Bengals in the AFC title game for the second straight year. Who will advance to Super Bowl 57 in Arizona? Tune in to find out. Hear the playoff picture unfold right here.
Sunday beginning at noon on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
Northern Utah and Southern Idaho's home for sports. It's the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
Welcome back to Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker. Full Court Press text line is still open if you want to chime in. 435-339-0321. Busy night in high school hoops. We'll have on a variety of different radio stations here in our Cache Valley Media Group family of radio stations. You can always go to CacheValleyDaily.com to find details and how to watch those games or what the schedule is. But we're going to take a step aside from that for a minute and get into our Pick Six, the 6 things we think might happen this weekend.
I bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way.
It's the Full Court Press Pick Six.
Ever since March Madness ended, I am so bored.
6 things we think will happen this weekend.
I don't know how the whole betting thing started, but it's fun.
All right, so I won last week.
Lucky.
And I'm lucky. So I will defer. I will let Jason go first.
All right. So first one, Jazz play the Mavericks on Saturday. So Luka Doncic points against the Jazz. Over under 30.5.
I'm going to take the over.
Take the over as well.
Just based on the conversation we had just a few minutes ago.
Next one, so Utah State takes on Fresno State on Saturday. Total points scored between the two teams. Over under 130.5.
So total points between Utah State and Fresno State, 130.5?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the over.
I'm going to take the under.
Okay.
And then, so So this next one, it's not that complicated. I'll try and explain it. Basically, Region 11 teams that are ranked in the top 3 in the RPI for boys and girls basketball. So those 2 RPI rankings, how many Region 11 teams wind up in the top 3 of those 2 rankings? Over, under 3.5.
So this is both boys and girls?
Yeah.
Okay. And what was the number again?
3.5. I mean, right now, Region 11 occupies the top spots in both rankings. I think maybe one other team. There are teams that are hovering around the top 3. Yeah. Over under 3.5 for Monday's RPI. How many Region 11 teams will be in the top 3 for basketball?
I'll take the over.
I take the over as well.
All right, so my 3. In high school basketball, Skyview hosting Mountain Crest tonight. So picking the line here, Skyview by 7.5.
Take the over. Skyview covering.
Okay, I'm going to take the under. Just got to go for my alma mater.
Of course you would.
Okay, so you talked about Dallas game. Ochai Agbaji, points, rebounds, and assists. So combined for the Utah Jazz, Ochai Agbaji, points, rebounds, and assists, 5.5.
Over.
I'm going to take the under. And then finally, Utah State over Fresno State on the road. Setting the line. The line has not been set, as far as I know. So I'm going to set the line at 7.5 for USU.
We'll do the under.
I'm going to take the over. And then as a tiebreaker, we've got conference championship games in the NFL this weekend. So team sacks by Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going to be at Kansas City, but team sacks by Cincinnati. I'm setting the line at 3.5.
I'm going to take the under.
Okay, I'm going to take the over. I like that Cincinnati defense.
Yeah, no, it's just like, I don't know. Probably should take the over, but I'm going to go with the under just because.
You just because. All right, so those are our lines. We'll see how we did on Monday. We'll recap it. Good way to recap the weekend at all overall. But some events taking place tonight, others through the weekend on Sunday as well. So on Monday, we'll tally it up and see how well we did.
9952 texting and pointing out there's USU hockey tonight, Friday and Saturday. So we got a weekend of Utah State hockey.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, we got the schedule right here.
Games start at 7 in the Eccles Ice Arena.
So they play Colorado tonight, Denver the next day, Colorado State the day after that. The Colorado State game is the military appreciation game.
Oh, very nice. Very cool. Thank you, 9952, for the reminder. So definitely options to choose from on things you want to go do and follow. And USU Gymnastics hosting BYU. Is that tonight or is that tomorrow?
I think it's tomorrow.
I know it's this week. But yeah, a lot of different things to choose from for different sports and athletics. But again, be sure to check back on CashValleyDaily.com. Oh, we got USU women's basketball. They're in action tonight in the Spectrum. So gymnastics is tomorrow. But we'll have photo galleries of these games, highlights. We'll go back and watch the high school games. If you missed any of them, you can go back and watch the archive on CashValleyDaily.com. And photo galleries, scoreboards, and so all these games that are taking place. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow to preview Utah State and Fresno State and see what else the weekend looks like for the Mountain West. And we'll preview the conference championship games in the NFL. Who you got moving on to the Super Bowl. So we'll discuss all of that and continue to take your texts, 435-339-0321, for those who want to chime in and weigh in on what's going on throughout the conference or what's happening in Region 11. Because it'll be a night of girls basketball tomorrow night as well. And then it's a bit of a break as Region 11 will shift next week to face the teams that they faced already, but on the alternating venues. And the boys will go to a Wednesday, Friday schedule. Girls will go to Tuesday, Thursday. That's going to do it for us tonight here in the Full Court Press. Have a great one. We'll see you back here tomorrow.